Marissa, and I'm going to show you how to make this cute bracelet. And I am starting with a small amount, about 2 feet of thread, and I'm using the Dragon Thread Crystal size 6, and I'm using a size 11 needle. I did use one of the 11 seed beads that I'm using for my project as my stop bead because I am going to incorporate it in my project. So on our bead mat, this is a beginner friendly project and it is going to take a few passes, but they're all easy and it's only 1 needle. So got my stop bead. Now we're going to do our very first pass, and this is probably, it's just easy. I don't know what else to say. So stop bead, and then I'm going to pick up pearl, 11 0, 8 0, 11 0, pearl, 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 and then coming out of my pearl, 11 0, 8 0, 11 0, pearl. Whoops, I dropped my 11 0, pearl. And then coming out of my pearl again, it's 11 0, 8 0, 11 0, pearl. So very simple. This is our first step. Stop bead. That's going to be part of our project. Pearl, 11 0, 8 0, 11 0, pearl, 11 0, 8 0, 11 0, pearl, and so forth. And if this is also kind of like the beginning of a necklace that I made recently. So this, you can wear this with that necklace. It'll kind of match it. Also, these lovely 6mm pearls are the ones from the April treasure box. They're the lavender pearls. I love them. They are so pretty. And this is already the second project that I'm using them with. So, you get a whole strand. So, I don't know. I just think that's awesome. Okay, so I am going to finish my first step. And I am going to stop once I have 13 6mm pearls on my strand, on my thread, because I know that for me that size, will fit me. Also, you want to make sure when you finish this step, you just want to look over at everything on your thread, and you want to make sure that you're not missing any 11 0 or that you didn't do 2 groupings of the 11 0, 8 0, 11 0. I don't know. I did that. I did that twice earlier. So, once you finish this step, just make sure everything is right. I will meet you back once I get all my pearls on here.
Do you want to get half-price kits every month? With the monthly kit subscription, you'll get 3 new kits for only $59.99, including free shipping. And you can pause or cancel your subscription at any time. And this month, new subscribers get an additional free kit as a welcome gift. Visit PotomacBeads.com/subscribe or click on the link in the description.
Okay, so I finished adding all of my pearls. And you know how I started with a stop bead and then started my step? I ended with a pearl. I put on another 11 0 and then went back through my pearl. So I started with my 11 0. I ended with my 11 0. So now I'm coming out of this pearl here. I can put these 8 0s away. I'm still going to be using 8 0s, but I'm not going to be using that color. I'm going to use another color. You don't have to use 2 colors. You can use just one, but I like how it looks with 2, so that's what I'm going to do. And now here we're going to be working with our crystals and our 11 0s. So when I finished, I added my stop bead, went back through my pearl. Now I'm coming out of this first pearl. I'm going to pick up 3 11 0s, a crystal, 3 11 0s, and then I'm going to circle around and I'm going to go back, down, my pearl. Okay. And then I'm going to do this again. 1, 2, 3 11-0s, crystal, 3 11-0s, and then back down our pearl again. And this time, once I have 2 of these little groupings around my pearl, I'm going to sew on ahead into my next pearl, going through the 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. So this is how it looks. It is going to be going these groupings are going to be going all over the place around the pearl. That's completely normal. We are, of course, you know, we're going to fix that as we progress. So at my next pearl, again, 11-0, 3 11-0s, crystal, 3 11-0s. Now, I am using 2mm bicones in this bracelet, the one I'm doing with you now. The ones I made earlier, I used 2mm rounds. So, you know, they should work. I don't know if it'll look very different, but we'll see. And let me just untangle myself here. Okay. All right. So I'm untangled. And now I'm going to do that again. I have 1, 2, 3, 11-0, crystal, then 1, 2, 3, 11-0. Whoops. Again, coming out of my pearl, circling around, going through my pearl again. Since I have my 2 strands around my pearl, I'm going to sew through this grouping and into my next pearl, doing this again. So I just want to make sure I don't tangle myself this time. So once you need to make sure you do 2 of these little groupings around each one of your pearls. Once you have that, I will meet you back. Well, once I have that, I will meet you back. Okay, I added all of my little groupings of 11-0, 11-0, 11-0, 11-0, crystal, 11-0, 11-0, 11-0 on both sides of all my pearls. So now we're going to be working with our 8-0s again, and I am going to use a different color. Again, you don't have to. It's just my preference, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm coming out of my pearl. Now, you do want to be careful not to pull too hard to where it just keeps pulling to one side. So, but one of the things you can do every few times you add a 8-0, you can just keep straightening out your work. All right, so coming out of my pearl, I'm going to go to one of these groupings where we're with my 3 11-0s, my crystal 3 11-0s, and I'm going to be coming out of the 2 11-0s after my crystal. Okay, so here's my crystal. I'm going to come out 2 of my 11-0s, and I'm going to add my 8-0 there on both sides. Okay, so so coming out of these 2 after my crystal, I'm going to pick up an 8-0 and then go through the 2 before the crystal, through the crystal, and then the 2 after the crystal. And I was only able to catch one, but I'll go through the other one in a minute. So I think I tangled my thread with my little stop tail thread. Okay. So I still need to go through one more 11-0. So that will put me into the second 11-0 after my crystal. Okay, so here I am. Can you see me? Second 11-0 after my crystal. Now I'm picking up an 8-0, and I'm going to pick up the 2 11-0s before my next crystal, and then going through my crystal, and then I'm going to pick up the 2 11-0s after my crystal, and I'm going to add an 8-0 again. So just pull tight enough, just tight enough to get your 8-0 in there. Don't pull too tight to where your bracelet's gonna curve. So going through my, going through my 2 here, and now I'm in place. I'm coming out of these 2. Now I'm in place again to add another 8-0, and then go on to these 2 11-0s before your crystal of your next pearl. Going through my crystal, and then we're going to come out through the 2 11-0s after my crystal. So I'm going to do this all the way down this way and then all the way down that way. And every, 4 or 5, I'm just going to do this to straighten out my project so that I don't stay with a bracelet that looks like that. Okay, so go ahead and do the same, and I will meet you back. Okay, so I'm almost done, but I just wanted to show you how it was coming along so far. And I already did all my 8-0s on this side, and then once I finished here, I just sewed through all these 11-0s and made my way out of the 2 11-0s after that crystal. So yes, there was my stop bead, and I just sewed through it. So I have made it part of my project, and now I'm on this side, and I'm about right here, and I just keep doing this to it. It looks kind of weird because there is thread showing, but we are going to take care of that. So main thing is we wanted to just lay nice without it curving too much to one side. We just want to make sure that our tension is good. Also, if you are not great with tension, what you could have done in this part was switch to 2 needles. Add another piece of thread, and with 2 needles, and just, where you work both sides at the same time. You do like 3 on one side, then 3 on the other, and so forth, just to keep, the tension the same. You could have done that too. And I've done that before with other bracelets where I don't feel like being careful with my tension. I'll just do that. So, but with this one, it's pretty simple because you just keep laying it flat. Also, once I finish this step, I am going to switch. Now, I didn't do that with my other bracelets, but I am going to switch to size 8 thread. Okay, so all this time, I've been working with size 6 thread, and once I do my last step, when I add my 15-0s, I am gonna use size 8 thread, just because I love size 8 thread. And once I do that, I'm also gonna reinforce my bracelet a bit. So since I've been using size 6 all this time, I should not have a problem using size 8 on my last step. And so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this part, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I am done with that step with adding my 8-0s. And now after I added this last 8-0 on this side, and here's my stop bead from earlier, and it will get more snug later. What I did was I have now switched to my size 8 thread, and I am coming out of this middle bead, which is, I have 3 11-0s on top and 3 11-0s underneath it. Wait. Yeah, so I'm coming out of this middle one, and I'm just going to get my wire guard and going to go through my wire guard, and I am going to reinforce it because I didn't use wire guards on my other projects, on my other bracelets, but I am gonna use one on this one because I used a little bit less beads, and I'm gonna use a toggle clasp that's fairly small. So, and at some point, I think I'm just gonna change my clasp. So to make that easier, it'll be easier if I just add a wire guard with jump rings, and then I'll be able to change my clasp. All right, so there's my wire guard. Now I'm going to reinforce it by just going up through it. And I just put cream on my hands, so it's a little bit difficult because my hands are slippery at the moment, but that's okay. We will get this done. And everything will tighten. So this part's kind of loose, but it will tighten. All right. Okay, let me finish reinforcing this and then I'll be back. All right, so I reinforced my wire guard, and I've gone back through this 11-0, my middle one, and then I've gone up these 3 11-0s. I'm coming out of my crystal, and I'm going to continue sewing. Well, no, I'm not coming out of my crystal yet, but that's okay. I'm going to sew through the crystal and then the seed beads after it, all 3 of them, and then I'm going to go back down my pearl. So now I just need 1 more 11-0. And then I'm going to go back down my pearl. Okay, so I'm coming out of my pearl. Now I'm in place to add my 15-0s. And I'm still kind of doing this. All right, so let me put some 15-0s on my mat. And this is such a pretty color. This is the Opaque Smoke Gray Luster. And I think it's AB. All right, so I'm coming out of my pearl. Now I'm going to add, I think it was, 5 15-0s, 3, 4, 5 15-0s. Coming out of my pearl, I'm going to go in through my crystal, but I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to go in it this way. Okay, so that that will put my 15-0s on the outside of my pearl. So coming out of my pearl down here, I'm going to go through my crystal this way. Then I'm just going to pull. I'm going to hold everything and pull, and then I'm going to go through my last 2 15-0s. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to put my finger down so that I can just pull my thread and tighten everything. So I'm going to hold everything down, pull my thread, and now my 15-0s are securely placed next to my pearl, and there's no thread showing. So I'm coming out of the last 2 pearls, because remember, once I came out of my crystal, I went up through the last 2 15-0s. So now I'm going to add 3 more 15-0s. And then I'm going to go back down my pearl. And that will tighten all my 15-0s. Now I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to do it for this side. So I'm going to pick up 5 15-0s. 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go through. Do I have all 5? Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to go through this crystal on this side, this way. And then I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to just hold everything and pull tightly. And then I'm going to go up through the last 2 15-0s. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to hold on to everything so that I'll tighten my thread, and my beads will all be in place. And now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. And I'm going to go back down my pearl. Go back down my pearl. And that will tighten all those 15 O's. And just make sure that when your thread doesn't bunch up or twist, that way your 15 O's are laying correctly. So there are my 15 O's. Now I'm coming out of my purl again. I'm going to go through the 11 O's here on the side from our first step, and I'm going to sew to my next purl. And so to do that, I'm going to follow my thread path. Just make sure I didn't snag anything when I did that. All right. So I'm coming out of my second 11 O. I'm going to keep sewing, going through the crystal, and then the 11 O, the two 11 O's after my crystal that are attached to the 8 O, and I'm going to hop onto this 8 O. And then I'm going to once again sew through all of these beads. So my 8 O's attached to those two 11 O's. I'm going to sew through those two 11 O's, the crystal, and then the three 11 O's after my crystal. And then I'm going to go down my purl and do that again, adding my 15 O's. All right. So now I'm down my purl. And again, 5 15 O's, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going through my crystal, like towards me. I can't see it. All right. And as I'm pulling, I'm holding everything. Well, and now I'm going to hold everything and pull. Now I'm going to go up through my last two 15 O's. Oops, not 3, 2. I got to hold everything while I pull my thread now. And now I'm going to add 3 more 15 O's. Let me see if I can do it like this with my piece on the mat. Down goes 3 more 15 O's on my needle, and then down my purl towards me. So now my needle and thread are coming out again here. And now you need to add your 15 O's to this side of your bracelet. So as I'm doing this, when I need to progress to my next purl, I'm just staying on my left-hand side because after you finish adding your 15 O's on both sides, you end up with your thread coming out of your purl down, right? So I'm just sewing on my left side through the 3 11 O's, the crystal, and then following this thread path here, which is the 2 11 O's, the 8 O, the 2 11 O's, the crystal, down the 3 11 O's and out through my purl, and then you're in place to add your 15 O's again. So, but as I said, when I progress, I go through the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that until I finish, and then I will show you after that what I do. Okay, so here we go. I finished my bracelet. So after I added the last of my 15 O's, I just sewed here out of these little 3 11 O's, the crystal, the 11 O's up here, and I came to my middle 11 O, and like on this side, I added the wire guard. I reinforced the wire guard. Then after that, I just took my thread and needle and sewed all along the other side of my bracelet. Because as I added my 15 O's, I stayed on the one side. So once I added my wire guard, I just came down and sewed all along the other side. And all I did was follow this thread path of the 11 O's, the crystal, 11 O's, 8 O, 11 O, crystal, 11 O's, 8 O, 11 O's, crystal. So just all along the side. And that's all I did. And once I finished, I just met my tail thread and I tied a knot. So now, since I used size 8 beading thread on this last part of my bracelet. My bracelet, I like how it feels. I don't think I need to reinforce it anymore. Feels good. It's not too loose. It feels just right, I think. This one, I use size 8 thread all the way through, and it feels pretty much like this one. It's a bit more firm than this one, but I did have trouble at the end when I was going through my pearls because everything was getting really, really snug in there, and I was kind of afraid I was going to break a pearl, especially since I wasn't using a size 12 needle. So, but if you do decide to make the bracelet using size 8 the whole way, it can be done, but I would recommend using a size 12 needle. On this one, I started with size 6, and it wasn't until the end when I was adding my 15 nose at the top that I switched to size 8, and I do like it. Okay, so this is what I have. Here's another one that I did, and I used an infinite clasp, and I love this clasp for this bracelet. I did not have one in silver, so that's why I used a toggle, but it's still very pretty. I love it. I love how it looks. And let me see if I can just quickly just put it on. Yeah, so this is how it looks. It's really, even though it's a dainty bracelet, it's still on the fancy side. I like it. So this is what I have. And if you make this, please feel free to post pictures of it on Potomac's Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. We would love to see it. And like I said, here's the other one that I make. Here's the other one that I made. So, and one more thing, I think it looks pretty on the other side too. So I don't know, just a thought. Maybe, reversible. Why not, right? Okay, well, here's what I got. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy making this.